I'm now here with artist, author, and mental health advocate, Michelle Williams. Michelle, welcome to the Time 100 Talks Health Summit.
Thank you so much, Lola. It's so good to talk to you.
It's so good to speak with you as well. And, I want to talk to you about depression. I mean, you've been quite vocal about your challenges with depression, and you've become a passionate advocate for mental health in recent years. But, many people still have trouble believing that celebrities have problems. I mean, you're Michelle Williams, you were in Destiny's Child, you have hit records, you're rich and famous. What could you be depressed about? I mean, when did you first realize that you had issues with depression? And what would you say to people who have those beliefs about celebrities and depression?
I was in my 20s when I probably vocalized it for the first time. Hey, I think I'm depressed. And Destiny's Child's manager, I went to him about it, and he said, wait a minute, no, we're on tour. Y'all just signed a multi-million-dollar deal. Y'all have Barbie dolls. You can't possibly be depressed. And now, mind you, I have since talked to him about that since I've been public about depression. And he literally said, Matthew knows, he said, Michelle, had I known then what I know now about mental health, depression, and other diagnoses, he said, I would have made sure you got the help you needed. And so at that time, this was 20 years ago, after he said those things like, hey, y'all are doing great things. So I just chalked it up to maybe I'm tired, maybe I'm homesick, and I'm just kind of overwhelmed, right? And so we fast forward to artist Shawn Mendes, who just announced that he's having to take a break, a mental health break from being overwhelmed on tour. Imagine 20 years ago, if that could have happened, right? And so to see the progress that we've had 20 years later, that it's taken seriously, that the stigma is slowly but surely being chipped away. Now, my first symptoms of depression, when we backtracked it, was back to like the 7th grade.
Really?
So,
what did those symptoms look like back in 7th grade?
yeah, isolation, fatigue, my grades dropped significantly. I didn't have interest in the things that I wanted, that I used to do. And so I thought that was growing pains. I thought it was puberty. And I was like, Lord, if this is what getting boobs and a little more booty is about, I don't want it, because I don't like how this feels. This is what puberty is. This is what going into womanhood is. This sucks.
Right.
But it was,
you thought it was purely hormonal.
Yes, but it was in fact depression, and I did not get an official diagnosis until I was in my 30s. Wow. So I went from that age of the 7th grade to my 30s of various ways of coping with depression. And even to this day, at the age of almost 43, I've turned my isolation into solitude. Like, I actually kind of like being by myself, versus it being a symptom of depression.
Nearly 1 in 5 adults in this country has a mental health issue, so you're definitely not alone. What more should be done to help people who are facing these challenges?
Like, when someone is saying that they're not okay, believe them, create a safe space. Now, for me, I didn't trust my safe spaces because I thought I'm the only one that's going through this. I also thought I didn't want people to be like, oh gosh, here we go again. When in fact, when things kind of blew up really bad publicly in 2018, people like, Michelle, we wish you would have come to us. Here I am, I'm doing Coachella in 2018 with Beyonce and Kelly, honey. We are living our best lives. And I'm depressed, newly engaged, depressed, but I didn't say anything to my then fiance. I didn't say anything to my singing sisters. I didn't, because I didn't want to be the Debbie Downer. So you're almost made to feel like even if you talk about it, you're going to bring down somebody's day, versus the person you talk to very well can get you the help you need, or just be that listening ear.
Yeah. We often hear about how destructive fame can be. Did being a part of Destiny's Child negatively impact your mental health? And did Beyonce and Kelly Rowland have any idea how much pain you were in at the time?
Unfortunately, they did not, because like I said, I was in a place of, if I express that I'm feeling depressed, does it mean I don't have gratitude? I was so excited and happy. I finally found two amazing females that to this day are my sisters, my friends. Um, so no, they didn't know. And no, I don't feel that Destiny's Child had anything negatively. It did not negatively impact my mental health. In fact, I think it somewhat saved me because I don't know. Yeah, I two solid folks, two solid girls standing beside me, even though they didn't know, but I still drew strength from them, especially from everything that they had gone through before I had even got in the group. So, like I said, my symptoms of depression started around the seventh grade. So, Destiny's Child did not make me depressed. Hollywood did not make me depressed. I didn't sell my soul and become depressed. You know, there's some of these things that people say. And so, also, success does not heal trauma. Success does not heal the results of abuse. It does not. Now, prayerfully, it affords you resources to get a handle on it. But success does not heal trauma. The reason why I know is because when I was a senior in high school, I was like, oh, I can't wait to get out this house. I can't wait to go and make something of myself. I can't wait to go make some money. I knew because I was in school for criminal justice. So I knew, I said, eventually I'm going to make six figures. So I was like, I can't wait. Okay. I made 6 and 7 figures and it did not heal the pain. It did not heal trauma, but it did give me the proper way to afford therapy and hospitalization and being able to go on retreats here and there to get to the root of everything.
You know, your 2021 memoir, Checking In, How Getting Real About Depression Saved My Life and Can Save Yours, is a brutally honest look at your mental health battles. Why was it important for you to write Checking In at that point in your journey? And was that experience cathartic for you?
Believe it or not, when I was hospitalized in 2018 for depression, I started writing then. I started literally writing in the hospital. They had given me a journal. And normally I hate writing. I just hate. Then at that point. And so I started writing my thoughts down in a journal. And so some of those thoughts turned into checking in. Certain voice notes that I wrote throughout the process ended up being a book. Me and the lady who helped me piece everything together, Holly Crawshaw, I even named her. She's on the title page of the book because I couldn't do it without her. We started putting all my notes and stuff literally on a wall. And she says, Michelle, girl, you got a book. I said, well, you got to make it make sense because I don't think it makes sense. So Holly Crawshaw helped Checking In to make sense. And I knew I titled it Checking In to take the power back in those 2 words, checking in, that can be made to shame you, humiliate you, and embarrass you. Checking in to a treatment facility for depression, checking into or what people might want to even call a crazy house, a mental health facility. So it's taking the power back in those 2 words and owning it and being able to tell my story and not let anybody else tell it. Because when I checked in the hospital, I believe it was TMZ that found out. And they were going to tell it whether I told it or not. And I was like, this is why people don't check in, because they're scared of who's going to report it, who's going to say something versus giving that person time. Now, I'm an open book. I've been talking about depression and my mental health journey since 2013.
That's right.
So I was eventually going to share that that I had to check in, but I didn't want to have to share it in the facility. So it was, that's why I'm saying people that, whether you're a public figure or a person who serves in your church, you might be scared to check in because people talk and they talk too much and they don't give you the opportunity to tell your story. They want to tell it for you.
And they rob you of the opportunity for you to speak clearly about your own journey.
Exactly. But that was not the case with, I eventually had to release a statement and say, hey, I'm doing what I've been telling y'all to do for years, which is get help. So I can't be a hypocrite. So I'm getting the help. And so I just remember stepping out of that hospital, eventually having access to my phone because my manager and they had to do everything. I had to give him my Instagram password and was like, you gonna have to post it because I don't have my phone. But I just remember feeling the love. So how so many people will support you more than you know.
Mhm.
So don't let those inner thoughts tell you you're alone or that no one will be there for you. Because I was shown that people care. I was also shown that I wasn't alone in the fight. Many people responded and said, Michelle, I'm going through the same thing.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm with you, girl. I understand. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I'm gonna keep talking about it then.
You've also said that it's important to offer an authentic response when someone asks you how you're feeling. You know, oftentimes people ask and we'll give a pat answer like, oh, everything's great, when in fact it's not. So why is transparency and authenticity so important?
I say, do you have the capacity or the time? Because it honors them with whatever space there may be in before you just go start dumping on somebody.
Got you.
All right. How you doing? You know, it's been a weird day today, but all is well. I'm okay. Okay. And then that might give them the opportunity to say, well, what do you mean weird?
Okay.
Because if you say, oh, I'm good, girl, everything's fine, they'll might just say, oh, okay, cool. What you having for lunch? Yeah,
Yeah.
it does when you're not real, it doesn't give them the opportunity to maybe dig and say and make sure, well, what do you mean it was a weird day? What happened?
Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't give people an opportunity to genuinely show up for you.
Absolutely, because people will genuinely show up for you. I've also found that some people want you to give them permission to show up versus them feeling like they're just maybe imposing and being intrusive. But I've given my friends permission. If you notice anything, a change in my mood or whatever, you have the permission. Don't wait for me to go off. Don't wait for me to cry or be sad. Don't wait for me to go silent for a few weeks. You
Right.
have permission to be like, all right, you look good on Instagram, but how are you really doing?
Okay. You also have 3 check-in practices that have been tremendously helpful. What are they?
Yes. The 3 pillars of checking in: check in with yourself. Meaning, when I wake up in the morning, I'm noticing how am I doing? But the reason why I can wake up with so much peace is because of how I went to sleep. I
Gotcha.
try not to go to sleep with pressure, anxiety, anger, worry, you know. But then when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, yo, today's gonna be fantastic. I know life is going to life and people going people. But my response has to be, it's going to be great. Checking in with others is just maybe checking in with people, seeing how they're doing.
Mhm.
I notice I'm best also when I'm serving others. And it's not coming from a place of serving because I feel like I have to please people. It's just, it makes you feel great when you can take even some of the thoughts off of you and onto someone else. Also, checking with others, the checking with the person that can hold you accountable. Checking with God is the
Okay.
third pillar. All
Okay.
right. I check in with God. And it's not the King James Version. It's just, sometimes it's just a moment of gratitude. Like, wow, I'm truly, truly thankful. I made it. I'm here. I'm helping and serving others. I'm checking in with God right now. I'm checking in with myself right now. Like, wow, I'm talking to Lola, whom I talked to for the first time 20 some odd years ago. Was it, for another publication? Wow.
Wow.
We are sitting here having an amazing discussion,
Sure.
right? So I'm staying present. I'm staying present, staying in the moment because that keeps you it keeps you centered. It keeps me happy knowing that I'm excited sharing my journey with you, Lola.
Thank you.
So I've checked in with God, others, and myself, all within a matter of 1 minute.
It's impressive.
Yeah, how cool is that?
It's fantastic, actually. Last question, Michelle. What impact are you hoping your honesty will have on others?
Mm. Impact having on others is, I want you to know that I see you. I want you to know that you can choose, prayerfully you choose to live, that it does get better.
Yeah.
It's so simple. I don't have nothing magical, theological, or mystical to say, other than I just want my impact to like let you know, to fill your life with some hope, fill your day with some hope.
Michelle Williams, you filled my day with some hope. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's so good, Lola. Thank you so much. You're awesome.
You
Awesome.
too.